What's going on, everyone? So, Jason Blum, part of Blumhouse, is really kind of one of the faces in horror, right? I mean, he's regularly pumping out scary horror movies. You have several kind of studios. A24 comes to mind, Neon comes to mind, but Blumhouse. I mean, when you think of Blumhouse, you think of some of the more bigger, more box office, more kind of mainstream sort of horror franchises over the last handful of years, like Insidious, Halloween, things like that. And he's somebody that really likes to kind of take these classics and rework them and create new modern adaptations of these franchises. I mean, we've seen, even like the Paranormal Activity, right? Kind of did the whole thing, like, what was it, the Next of Kin one, kind of revamped that entire franchise, which I actually liked that one because he didn't want to just kind of do the same old run of the mill. Obviously, the Halloween trilogy, which personally I wasn't a fan. I loved 18, wasn't really a fan of Halloween Kills, and I think Halloween Ends is like god awful, right? Resurrection level bad. Me personally, I know some people like it. The consensus from what I've gathered, most people kind of think it was kind of just didn't fit like what the direction they were going. I just felt like kind of it was almost like his own thing in many ways. But nonetheless, right? Jason Blum, Blumhouse, they want their hands on all the classics from Nightmare on Elm Street to, Jason Voorhees and Camp Crystal Lake and all this stuff. And then, of course, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween. Right? You have all these iconic, just legacy horror franchises that Jason Blum and Blumhouse want to create these films for. And he recently spoke about some of those films and kind of his ideas and hopes and plans. And I wanted to kind of go over that stuff and then, of course, kind of continue this conversation. So diving right into it. So Jason Blum says James Wan will be hugely involved in future Saw films, right? Blumhouse, James Wan, they're back on the Saw train. They're planning future Saw films. The more recent one, Saw 11, that seems to be kind of in the can, done. But we are expected to get more Saw movies and maybe even kind of like a reset in the Saw franchise here in the future. But my creative outlook is what I always preach. Get the people who made the magic in the first place more involved. And he's spot on in that regard, right? The Saw is the brainchild of James Wan. If I'm not mistaken, it was like a college project or something like that, where he did like a little like small budget thing for like a couple $100 or something, and it evolved into the box office franchise that it's become. But Jason Blum still had a couple more things to talk about. He talked about the Halloween franchise. This was with Variety. Jason Blum on the Halloween franchise. We don't own the rights anymore. I had a 3-picture deal, but I would do another Halloween movie talking about, because remember, you had the Halloween 18 Kills and then Halloween Ends. He doesn't own the rights anymore. Those rights have moved on. We will see if maybe at some point Jason Blum is able to get those back, because he does want to do another Halloween movie, and maybe he'll be able to do so. Look, I don't imagine it's going to be very long before we get another Halloween movie. Usually you get 1 or 2, 3 films, and then we get, a little like 5-year hiatus or whatever. And then here comes a new announcement for something. So I wouldn't be surprised in the next, year, 2 years, something like that, we don't get another Halloween announcement, or, things are in the works, whether it's Jason Blum and Blumhouse or somebody else, right? I don't think this is going to be down for very long, especially with the new Jason series. Jason movie is supposed to be in the works and coming out. They're doing a Jason video game. If those start to have success and that thing starts taking off, somebody's going to go, let's get the rights to Halloween and start and basically do the same thing. Let's get a Halloween series and a Halloween film and a Halloween game. Oh, well, we're getting the Halloween game, right? So point is I see more Halloween down the line. And then lastly, Jason Blum says his ultimate goal as a horror producer is to make a Friday the 13th and a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Those are my 2 white whales. We're always haggling. I make a run at them every day. I will never give up that quest. And if they make one without me, I'll chase the next movie. So, a couple things, right? One, he's somebody that wants to do the big 3. Right? He wants to do Jason. He already got to do Michael Myers and Halloween, and he wants to do a Freddy Krueger movie. Like I mentioned, we are getting a Jason film. Now, he said Friday the 13th movie, so there are two different rights. There's a group that owns the rights to Jason, which is why we're getting a Jason series. You notice it's not called Friday the 13th, it's called Camp Crystal Lake. We're getting a new Jason, or expected to get a new Jason movie. It won't be called Friday the 13th. It'll probably be called Jason or something like that. And then we're getting the Jason video game and things like that. So you have somebody that owns the rights to Jason, and then somebody who owns the rights to the Friday the 13th franchise, like the name of the franchise. You also got to remember, the original Friday the 13th didn't have Jason, right? It was Mrs. Voorhees who was the killer. So somebody owns that, and then somebody owns the rights to Jason. Is Jason Blum going to be able to land a Jason film, or would he be okay with doing a Friday the 13th film, right? Like I mentioned, if Jason is able to, this Jason movie and everything has success, you got to imagine the rights holders for Friday the 13th is going to want to cash in on that at some point, which is why I think it's so, like, these whole, oh, I own this, you own that. Like, I just think it's such a mess, right? Like, nobody's making money when you're fighting like that, right? There's so much money to be made, right? Like, people that own, because in all honesty, the one that owns Jason owns the most money, right? Like, people equate Friday the 13th to Jason. I think you can do a Jason movie without calling it Friday the 13th. I mean, you have Jason X, right? I don't think you can do a Friday the 13th movie without Jason, right? You could do a prequel or something like that, but that's what the series is for, right? So to me, I think those who own the Jason franchise and the Jason rights are great. So if I was the guy that owned the Friday the 13th name, I would be like, hey man, let's do a Friday the 13th movie. You can have the rights to Jason. Let's split it, whatever, 60-40 or 70-30. Because I'd rather have 30% of hundreds of millions than nothing, right? But we'll see if Jason Blum is ever able to get that. Nightmare on Elm Street is the one that I'd really like to see him get. It's kind of right up his alley, in my opinion. He's already gotten the Michael film. I don't know if he's going to be able to get a Jason film. But the one of the big three that we have no way of knowing nothing, as far as we know, in the works, is the Friday the 13th. Nightmare on Elm Street. Correction. Freddy, right? I would love to see a new Freddy Krueger. I've talked about, we're doing the Jason series. We should do a Michael series. We should do a Freddy series. I'm a big fan of turning these iconic franchises, horror franchises, into actual, series. Because you just get more time to flesh out characters, flesh out stories, all of that. Instead of cramming everything into an hour and 45 minutes, you can take your time and pace it out over, an 8 to 10 hour series. It just gives you so much more time to kind of get things right. So I would love anything from a Nightmare on Elm Street. Can we get a Freddy series, a Freddy film? You're going to have the success of the Jason video game, the Halloween video game. Why not get a Freddy video game? Why not make how cool would it be to be able to be Freddy and you can jump into different people's dreams and stuff like that, maybe manipulate stuff, and just think of the technology today and how cool you could make a Freddy game. So I really am hopeful that they're able to work that out and get that kind of resolved. But then lastly, Saw, it'll be interesting to see kind of how that plays out. They have a lot of ideas, a lot of rumors and stuff kind of floating around. Like I said, Saw 11 seems to be the end. And there was talks about kind of resetting the franchise. Honestly, I think that's the best route. No, I've said it for years. The moment they killed Tobin Bell, they painted themselves in a really tough corner, right? Because he was the guy, right? He was so vital to that franchise, and we see it. Now they're trying to come up with all these creative ways and kind of convoluting the timelines and stuff. It's like, oh, this is in between 1 and 3, and then this one's between 2 and 5, and it's just, I just think that we do kind of need a nice little hard reset, kind of get everything back in order, and give us a new, fresh kind of Saw film. I think that there's a lot of creative ways that you can go about a Saw movie. It's just, again, execution, delivery, and how you approach it. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, If you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. We enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel. What are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.